Good evening. Good evening to the Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Douglas County. Welcome to our Tuesday, October 18, 2022 legislative voting meeting. I would certainly like to start off with roll call today. I'll start with District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III. Okay, he's coming through the door. He's here. District 2 and Vice Chairman Kelly Robinson.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Tarenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Ann Jones-Guider.
Present.
Dr. Ramona Jackson-Jones, present. Chairman. Board of Commissioners, we do have an established quorum. Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. I called you earlier, but you are here. Clerk, certainly tonight we have our own Rick Martin who will render invocation for the Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Douglas County. And Board of Commissioners, after the invocation, and also our audience, if you just please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much, Director Martin, for being here tonight.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair-elect, Commissioners and colleagues. Before we begin, I would like to read a passage from the Bible, Psalm 119, 114. You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, I come to you in prayer at tonight's commission meeting asking for your care and protection over our citizens, our Board of Commissioners, our elected officials, and constitutional officers and staff. Just yesterday, early voting began, and citizens are heading to the polls, and television ads of hate have begun. Lord, give us wisdom to see through all the temptations of today, to do what honors you in our lifetime. Please protect our first responders, who we call on for our emergency need. And last but not least, protect our desires of hopefulness from now through the end of the year. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Director Martin, for rendering prayer over our amazing county tonight, and much appreciated. Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment tonight? Clerk?
No, ma'am, we did not.
Okay, thank you so much. With that being said, Board of Commissioners, we move right into the approval of our minutes. Board of Commissioners, you have before you the commission meeting minutes of October 4th, 2022, the work session minutes of October 3rd, 2022, the executive session minutes of October 3rd, 2022, and the constitutional officers elected officials retreat minutes of September 29th, 2022. Is there, first of all, are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made to these minutes, Board?
No.
Being none, the minutes stand approved.
Madam Chair.
Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
Yeah, just quickly, as related to our meeting minutes, there was a constitutional officer elected officials retreat, and I just want to confirm for the record that that video was made available to the public, and I wasn't quite sure, but it would correlate to these meeting minutes. Do we know, Madam ACA, do we have confirmation?
Assistant County Administrator, if you could just come forth, please. Our Assistant County Administrator, Tiffany Stewart Stanley, is coming forth to provide you with an update, Vice Chairman.
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. I was just told by our Communications Operations Manager that the video is ready and it will be uploaded. So they have it ready, it's just not uploaded yet. So we can get that done today.
Yes, it's important. It's perfectly timed, and allow it to stand with these meeting minutes that they go together and make it available to the public. That's good enough.
Yep. we'll get
I
it
yield,
done.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam ACA. All right, Board of Commissioners, tonight we have 5 proclamations before us, and I'm going to do something a little different tonight. What I'll do, hopefully that you all will approve 2 of the proclamations. We take photos, and then I'll do the last 3 so we can take the photos. I'm just trying to be aware, be cognizant of our time tonight. All right, and we're excited to have all of these proclamations read tonight, and we'll start off with the tab number 5, proclaiming November 1st, 2022 to November 11, 2022 as Operation Green Light for Veterans. Justine Haywood will be reading this proclamation, Board of Commissioners, for us tonight. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair-elect, Commissioners, colleagues, and of course, greetings to those we serve across Douglas County. On behalf of Deputy County Administrator Perry and Assistant County Administrator Stewart Stanley and myself, we are honored to read into the record of today's meeting the Board of Commissioners Proclamation, Operation Greenlight. And the proclamation reads, whereas the residents of Douglas County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas Douglas County seeks to continue honoring these individuals who have paid a high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, veterans of foreign wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future, and whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk of suicide during their first year after military service, and whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans, and whereas Douglas County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted, therefore be it resolved, Douglas County hereby proclaims from November 1st, 2022 through Veterans Day on November 11th, 2022, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight for Veterans, the Douglas County Courthouse will illuminate green each night beginning Monday, November the 7th, and until Sunday, November the 13th. Therefore, be it further resolved that the Douglas County Board of Commissioners encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition and solidarity to recognize the importance of honoring those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of residence and/or business. This concludes the reading of the Board of Commissioners Proclamation, Operation Greenlight. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Justine. We really appreciate you taking the time to read this wonderful proclamation. And certainly there's much respect and honor and gratitude for our veterans who have served to maintain our freedom here in our nation. Certainly, Operations Greenlight is befitting, and so excited about the illumination that will take place from November 7th through November 13th. and I know the board is excited as well. Our Assistant County Administrator Tiffany Stewart Stanley shared with me about the courthouse being lit up very soon, so I'm real excited about that. So thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, you have heard this proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
We have 2 seconds.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I'll yield to that.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Vice Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Yeah, nothing long on this one. This is, I'm glad that the administrators, plural, and Ms. Hayward brought this forward. I think it's something sometimes, was this a federal program, state? How did you guys find out about this? What brought this forth? How did you get plugged into this?
Okay, so Operation Greenlight begins with a tradition in the military community across our country. They place a green light in the front-facing window of a residence and/or business to represent care and support for military personnel. Last year, the state of New York illuminated its public buildings green for the week leading up to Veterans Day. Enough county leaders recognized that effort, and it caught the sight of the National Association of Counties, also known as NACO. Now, Douglas County is a member county of NACO, so we were privy to NACO's intent to increase the initiative this year by standing in solidarity and having all counties across the country light their public buildings green for the week leading up to Veterans Day. It is to honor our brethren of arms, but it's also to bring to state and federal offices the conversation of the difficulties they face when transitioning or even trying to transition, to civilian livelihoods. That's the main intent. And so Deputy County Administrator Perry, Assistant County Administrator Stewart Stanley, and myself, we recognize that. We developed a program to participate this year on behalf of the board and Douglas County citizens, and we are very much looking forward to executing the program upon your blessing with the proclamation's adoption.
No, I appreciate that response. I thank you, Madam Guider, as well. It's a national program. And it's always encouraging to see alignment both at the local, state, and federal levels, while we as commissioners stay involved with things like ACCG and NACO, so we can do proper alignment, not just in ceremonies, but also in appropriations and policies and everything else. But this one right here obviously is deeply personal for those who served, like my fellow commissioners and stuff. So for that, I stand in 100%, and I just want to acknowledge, Madam Chair, well done on this one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other remarks, board? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Guider, you have the floor.
I think it would just be awesome if all the houses had a green light in the window. I think the community should come out and support this. I was interviewing one of our directors today who served in the Army for many years, and he was actually wounded. But he works for the county, and I never go, and we should never forget to thank people for their service, because that's what makes America great. Okay? So I just want to commend you on it, too. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Guider. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Board, we have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your electronic votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Board of Commissioners, and we have approved the proclamation for the November 11, 2022 Operation Green Light for Veterans. Thank you so much, and we will get a photograph with you in just a minute, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Justine. And also you and Madam ACA, and also our Deputy County Administrator for leading this effort. And certainly it's driven off the wings of NACO. I had that on my little message board, but I've decided to allow you to say that when the Vice Chair asks you about it. Okay? All right. Certainly, before we go on to our next proclamation, I would like to recognize all the veterans in the room tonight. If you would just stand, please want to give you special recognition. right, we're going to move on to tab number 6. Tab number 6 is proclaiming the week of October 9th through the 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week in Douglas County. And Board of Commissioners, certainly, before I bring up Chief Jolivet and you have someone here with you, I believe Douglas County High School students tonight, correct? All right. So, come forward. Tab number 6 is proclaiming the week of October 9th through the 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week in Douglas County. And we have our Fire Chief Jolivet and an ensemble of students here from Douglas County High School. And Board of Commissioners, I will share with you tonight before we vote, certainly we'll be asked if you all would just bear with me, and we will be showing just a quick video clip of Dr. Laura Moore Merrill. She's the U.S. Fire Administrator who was appointed by President Joseph Biden October 5th, 2021. Fire Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Honorable Board of Commissioners, Deputy Administrator Fred Perry, Madam A.C. Tiffany Stewart-Stanley, and to all the wonderful citizens. We have a proclamation that we're going to be talking about in terms of fire prevention. And in Douglas County, we celebrate fire prevention 365, 24/7. So it's something we do always. And I'm Chief Jolivet, and I have my command staff with me.
Good evening. Deputy Chief Eric Phillips, Deputy Chief of Administration.
Good evening. Stacy Farmer, EMS Chief.
Thank you.
Good evening. Deputy Chief Pablo Lugo, Community Risk Reduction and Training.
Good evening, Deputy Chief Miles Allen, Deputy Chief of Operations.
And we have a young lady here from Douglas County High School who's going to introduce her team and tell what they do.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Martin. I am a current senior at Douglas County High School and an International Baccalaureate Diploma candidate. I was asked to just come up here today and speak a little bit about Douglas County High School and the IB program. At Douglas County High School, we have a motto, and it's 5G ready. Those 5 Gs stand for growth, graduation, goals, grind, and grades. At Douglas County High School, every teacher is absolutely committed to giving their students the best education possible. I'd like to give a huge thank you to my principal, Mrs. Parks, and our IB coordinator, Mr. Bennett. Through the IB program, my love of scholarship has grown, and I know that when I graduate in May, I will be 5G ready. And also thank you to the community, because it truly does take a village.
Thank you.
As we prepare to do the proclamation for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners Fire Prevention Week, we'll begin with whereas.
Douglas County government is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our state, and
Whereas.
Fire is a serious public safety concern, both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And
Whereas.
home fires killed more than 3,800 civilian deaths in the United States in 2021, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 1,353,500 home fires annually.
Whereas.
Smoke alarms send smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of a fire, in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely. And
Whereas.
Working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying and reported home fires in half. And
Whereas.
Douglas County residents should be sure everyone in the home understands the sound of the alarms and knows how to respond. And
Whereas.
Douglas County residents that plan and practice a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to escape the fire.
Whereas.
Douglas County residents will make sure their smoke alarms and sewer alarms meet the needs of all their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. And
Whereas.
Douglas County's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries, prevention and protection education. And
Whereas.
Douglas County residents who are responsive to public education measures are better able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And
Whereas.
The 2022 Fire Prevention Week theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, works to educate everyone about simple but important actions they can take to keep themselves and those around them safe from home fires.
Now therefore, we, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 9th through 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week throughout Douglas County, Georgia, and we urge all people of Douglas County to plan your escape for Fire Prevention Week 2022 and support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Douglas County Fire Department. So proclaim the 18th day of October 2022. Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones and the Board of Commissioners. So we have a special presentation. Sierra?
Hello, I'm Dr. Lori Moore Merrill, your U.S. Fire Administrator, and I'm just checking in to say thank you to the Douglas County High School students who recognized the 100th anniversary of Fire Prevention Week and the work they did to help their community understand that fire won't wait, plan your escape. Congratulations, students, and thank you for stepping up for fire safety.
Thank you. This completes our presentation. Thank you again, and turn it back over to Madam Chair.
Thank you to Chief and your entire command staff and our amazing Douglas County High School students tonight for presenting this proclamation. Certainly, I agree with Dr. Laura Moore Merrill. Fire won't wait. We must plan our escape. Certainly, we are dedicated to producing or reducing fires and promoting fire prevention. Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second, Board. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the proclamation proclaiming the week of October 9th through 15th, 2022 as Fire Prevention Week in Douglas County. Congratulations, and thank you all. Let's just give you all a hand as well. The Board of Commissioners, we're going to walk down and take a photograph with you all, and then, of course, we'll pivot back to our Operation Greenlight, and then we'll be able to capture 2 photographs at one time. So we're going to come down first with you, Chief, and your team.
Turn, thank you. We're going to get with the commissioners.
If I could get everyone to put this reading on. Okay. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Thank you.
Parents, can you please stand a little bit? Parents, please, young students. Give a hand.
Madam Chair, I mean, quick announcement. 2 of the children happen to be mine and my wife. And this is the first time we've ever been all together and at a meeting. And I wouldn't have changed my life or career or with sport if it wasn't for my family. And I'm just honored and humbled. And I want to personally thank you, Madam Chair, and the Board of Commissioners, each and one of you, for the opportunity to serve. Thank you. If they would identify themselves.
Okay, all right. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Perry, Assistant County Administrator. Thank you. Operation, what do you have a picture?
You guys can say it. We're all good. Thank you. All right.
Everybody get Mr. Robinson. You step to your right a little more. Oh, okay, yes, that's right. All right. Okay, if you look towards the sound of my voice. To you? Yes, sir.
The only one that looked my way.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Board of Commissioners, we're going to move on to tab number 7. Tab number 7 is proclaiming the month of October as Behavioral Health Month here in Douglas County. And we have our Chief Operating Officer of the Community Service Board, Ray Lightford, here to read it, and I'm quite sure he brought some of the staff members with him from, yes, his executive team. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair,
Good
Commissioners,
afternoon.
colleagues. This is a great day. So I wanted to share with some of our team members and I'll let them introduce themselves real quick before I go further.
I'm Guy Dawson, Substance Abuse Counselor.
Guy.
Nakia Boyd, Community Integrated Services Program Manager.
Nice meeting you.
Good evening, Patricia Henry, CFO.
Patricia.
Good evening, Sandra Williams, Clinical Director.
And thank you. I had to bring them this beautiful evening. Not too long ago, about 3 years ago, around the same time, I stood before the Board of Commissioners for the very first time, talking about how important behavioral health was in the community. And with the backing of this board, exactly the way it is today, and the citizens, we got that funding. And so I have great news to tell you. So for the first time in the history of Douglas County CSB, we received the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Region 1 Superior Provider Award.
All right.
So with that, that's over 22 counties and over 100 both private and public entities that we competed against for that award. Some of the standout programs was our Veterans Village program, some of our new initiatives as far as our substance abuse programs that we launched and our grants that we got from the federal government, as well as the excellence and the support that we got from our local community. All that was graded and put into this great award, so thank you. And so with that being said, I brought my team up to go ahead and read this beautiful proclamation on my behalf.
Wow.
Whereas behavioral health challenges affect almost every family in America, and whereas people with behavioral health challenges recover if given the necessary services and supports in their communities.
And whereas millions of adults and children are disabled by behavioral health challenges every year, and whereas stigma, fear, and discrimination keep many who would benefit from behavioral health services from seeking help. And
whereas good behavioral health is critical to the well-being of our families, communities, schools, and businesses, and whereas greater public awareness about behavioral health challenges can change negative attitudes and behaviors toward people with behavioral health challenges.
Now, therefore, Douglas County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the month of October 2022 as Douglas County Behavioral Health Month, and call upon all Douglas County citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of behavioral health challenges, reducing stigma and discrimination, and promoting appropriate and accessible services for all people with behavioral health challenges.
Signed, Dr. Ramona Jackson Jones and the Board of Commissioners.
All right, thank you so much. This is really befitting today. Stumping the Stigma was one of our first initiatives, I believe, 3 years ago, and it still is leading the charge with regard to behavioral health, substance abuse, and mental health in our nation. And also our DD program is very aggressive and progressive. I would just like to thank you all for being number one. Ray O'Tell, I can certainly share with the board, when he called me about this award last week, he said, Madam Chair, we're I said, tell me number one. So we are number one, and I'm just so proud of all the hard work, because if it was not for this Board of Commissioners, we would not be number one. And they have stood shoulder to shoulder with us on all the initiatives related to the Community Service Board here in Douglas County, and we are grateful. So if you all could just give the Board of Commissioners a hand, because we just wouldn't be here saying number one without this board. Thank you so much, my fellow board members. I'm telling you, you have stood shoulder to shoulder with me on this Community Service Board, and now we're number one, so thank you. Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamations. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? Vice Chairman Robinson.
Yeah, I won't go long on this one. Again, behavioral health, mental health, it's all related. But I appreciate your leadership, Mr. Leiper, when you took over the helm. And you showed us from your background coming out of Washington and your experience in the North and at a federal level, there is a higher performance. And you brought that and you applied that down here at a local level, and you've just been steady about it. And you've been shaping the CSB and how we've evolved that organization, that we can perform differently. We can provide services in a more efficient way, more effective way. And you've taught us. What I love about you is that you've educated. If you're paying attention to, you've educated, no, he's got it. And you've done us well by that. And so, yes, the board did invest that $2.5 million 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I think we need to re-up. But to that point, yes, we got to keep going. We spend, less than 3% of our entire budget on DFACS, Community Service Board, Economic Development, and the seniors. Less than 3% of our budget. But the sheriff is 33%. Look at that disparity for all our seniors, all of our behavioral health, all the economic development, all the community service board. We spend less than 2% of our entire budget. And yet we talk about some of the challenges that we have out in the community that says, this is a great award. That's the beginning, says, okay, now you got it. Now let's go get some work done. Because now there's a better way to do things. We shouldn't be locking people up in our jail, and where we know 23% of them have mental health issues, but we need to sort of evolve this. And so this is the beginning. Welcome back. I do acknowledge, but your effort. And again, the timing is right at the national, the state, the local level. That says, gosh, yes, let's move on beyond this, the stigma. Let's get to some real issues and care. Let's quit talking about policy. let's really get out here and get some services. Your team is here, the clinical directors, the people who really do real work. Man, I'm very proud to hear this, Madam Chair, and I had to say it. So I'm going to yield. That's good enough. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Commissioner Carthen.
Well done, Ray and team. Well done. I remember when I sat here 4 years ago and you came before us, I had no idea what a CSB was. But you took me to the side and you educated me about what you could do. And I was in your corner ever since that time. And to see what you have done, not only from what the Board of Commissioners put forth, but to see the programs that you've brought forth, to see how you have stood behind the veterans. You like a quiet storm in Douglas County. Don't nobody know it, but you are the man, and you have a powerful team behind you. And every time I come over there, everybody is always smiles. You would never know walking in there the heavy load that you all carry. So I thank you, and I thank you for being open to the community. I know me and my sister, who sits right there on the front row, have used your building many a times. You all are just a blessing to the community. Bravo, job well done.
Amen.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other comments?
I won't say much though, but kudos, Mr. Lightfoot. And I too remember that first day when we separated ourselves from the other situation that we were dealing with. However, it was said that, first of all, we didn't have the true funding, but we somehow made it work. This board somehow made it work. We believed in the vision that you had. We believed that where you were going and what you wanted to do and how you're going to make our CSB board the best. And now I see that is fruition now. That is real. That you did do as what you said almost, a few years or so ago, that you would do this, and you're here. So I'm truly proud of you. I knew it was a tough and long journey, and I think you've surrounded yourself by a great team of doers and movers and shakers, and you understood the process, and you knew you was willing to get dirty and make it work. So thank you again. Thank you for getting in the trenches. Thank you for sharing your ideas and your thoughts and your vision with this board to get there. And thank you to this board for at least believing in that vision and funding that vision, because that was the toughest part about the whole journey, was funding it and starting it up. So continue to do great work, and to you guys, thank you a lot, and thank you for, right there as his right hand and doing the things that needs to get done to make this happen. So thank you guys, and thank you, Mr. Lightfoot, for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other discussion? Being none, Board of Commissioners, please prepare to cast your electronic votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. So congratulations on proclaiming the month of October as Behavioral Health Month here in Douglas County. If you all could just give us a moment, I'm going to go with the other two proclamations, then we'll take snapshots all at once. It'll just be quick. All right, thank you. All right, next we have before us, Board of Commissioners, tab number 8, proclaiming the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in Douglas County. We have Kathy Smith Curry here tonight to read this proclamation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners.
Good evening.
It's great to be here with you all this evening. As mentioned, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I will read the proclamation.
Okay.
Whereas the theme for the 2022 Domestic Violence Awareness Month is Awareness Plus Action Brings Hope. Whereas domestic violence remains a pervasive issue across the county and the United States with implications for personal and community health. And whereas Share House's goal is to bring peace and structure into the lives of victims of domestic violence and to bring awareness and minimize the danger of victimization. And whereas the crimes of domestic violence violate an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic controlled and/or abuse. And whereas domestic violence is an abusive behavior in intimate relationships used by one partner to exert power and gain control over the other, when a family member is abused, it can have long-term damaging effects on the victim that also leave a mark on family, friends, and the community at large. Whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law. And whereas it is important to recognize the compassion and dedication of the individuals who provide services to victims of domestic violence and work to increase public understanding of this significant problem. And whereas prevention, intervention, and treatment for victims can only be done through public awareness and education about domestic violence, and
Now, therefore, in recognition of the important work done by Share House, who provide a variety of services designed to meet the comprehensive needs of children, women, and men attempting to rebuild their lives after abuse or violence. And Douglas County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of October to be National Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Douglas County. And this call upon all citizens to take this opportunity to educate themselves about the impact of domestic violence in Douglas County. Therefore, in recognition of Domestic Violence Month, let us remember the victim of domestic violence, celebrate the survivors, and work together to eliminate violence against women, children, and men of all ages in our community. So proclaim this 18th day of October, 2022.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much, and we really appreciate Board of Commissioners and I, what the Share House, the contribution you make here in the community with regard to compassion and dedication. Certainly the theme for 2022 is a game changer. It says awareness plus action brings hope. I love action. Action means you're going to get something done, or something is being done to address the issue. So thank you all so much for reading the proclamation tonight, both Kathy and Joseph. You know I'm having a brain spell for a minute. Thank you all for coming in and reading the proclamation and presenting it to the Board of Commissioners tonight. Board of Commissioners, you've heard this proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second, Board. Any discussion? Commissioner Carthen?
How'd you know?
I heard you say, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the floor. Thank you for what you do, Kathy Smith and Joseph, who sits on the board with you. Can you tell us a little bit about Share House and what you have coming up?
Absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity to do so. I'm Kathy Smith Curry. I serve as the board chair for Share House of Douglas, and this is our vice chair, Joseph Morency. We have our annual candlelight vigil coming up this Thursday, 20 October at 7 p.m. at Heritage Baptist Church. And we are an agency that provides crisis intervention and a continuum of care to address the causes and effects of family violence in this county. And we thank you for all of your support, Madam Chair and Board Commissioners.
Thank you. Any other discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second on the floor, Board. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board, we have a 5 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the proclamation for the month of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in Douglas County. So if you all could just sit for a minute, both Kathy and Joseph, we will be prepared to take photographs with you in 1 second. And Joseph, please forgive me, my brain froze I'm not getting any younger. I said, I had a senior moment. But anyway, we're going to move on to tab number 9. Tab number 9 is proclaiming September 15th through October 15th, 2022 as National Hispanic Heritage Month here in Douglas County, and that proclamation will be read by Amaji Stewart. We'll start with our Assistant County Administrator, Tiffany Stewart Stanley. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. Just wanted to come and introduce, well, you all have met her, but to the community, our new External Affairs Coordinator, Ms. Amaje Stewart. She is a this recent college graduate from Valdosta State University in political science. She finished college in 3 years, so I'm jealous of that. She will be handling things like Keep Douglas County Beautiful, our Douglas County Youth Initiatives, which include our Youth Commission, which starts tomorrow. And I think we have a record number of students, which is 26. So she's already kind of hit the ground running.
Wow.
And she's already hit the ground running working on events like the Employee Appreciation as well as our September Saturday. So I just wanted to introduce you all to her. She'll be working with all of our external groups, and that's why she's reading the proclamation today.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. Today I will be reading the National Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation, and it reads, whereas each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas the observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period. And whereas the day of September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for Latin American countries, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and September 18th, and Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, which is October 12th, falls within this 30-day period. And whereas America's diversity has always been a great strength of our nation, as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we recognize and applaud extraordinary accomplishments of Hispanic Americans. And whereas from America's beginning, Hispanic Americans have served as leaders in business, government, law, science, athletics, the arts, and many other fields. In 1822, Joseph Marion Hernandez became the first Hispanic to serve as a member of the United States Congress, representing the newly established territory of Florida. And whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month provides an opportunity to recognize the vitality of the Hispanic culture as an integral part of our society and to acknowledge the service of Hispanic Americans to our country, from those who have aided our local communities to those who have served in the armed forces, distinguishing themselves in leadership and courage. Now, therefore, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2022, as National Hispanic Heritage Month in Douglas County, and join with all citizens in recognizing the many contributions of Hispanic Americans to the United States and to Douglas County. So proclaimed this 18th day of October 2022. And that concludes the proclamation.
All right, thank you so much for bringing the proclamation forward to us tonight. And in a nutshell, what I heard very clear is America's diversity has always been the strength of our nation. So it's very important that we recognize National Hispanic Heritage Month here in Douglas County and across the nation. So thank you so much for bringing this proclamation forth. Board of Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the proclamation for National Hispanic Heritage Month starting September 15th through October 15th, 2022. Thank you so much. And Board of Commissioners, we will start with our Behavioral Health Month group first, then Domestic Violence for photos, and then the National Hispanic Heritage Month photo. So we'll come down, board. Let's go down. Right. Looking at her. Let me fix that. That's not her. Teresa.
Teresa. Yeah, but they can't.
I don't know.
I thought you wanted to do it separately. Take two, okay? 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, and 1. Great smile. Good job. Sure, I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right.
It's good to meet you. Certainly.
There you go. You know how to pump in that space. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3.
All right, Board of Commissioners, thank you so much for engaging in our 5 proclamations that was so worthwhile today as we recognize the accomplishments of the various organizations here in Douglas County. Board of Commissioners, we're going to move into our consent agenda, and I want to remind you that all items are subject to final legal review. Our consent agenda will be read as a tradition now, under my leadership by our Deputy Clerk. Sherry Mathis will read our consent agenda. Sherry, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Number 10, consent agenda. Authorization to accept the 2022 BGA fiscal year 22 Edward Burm Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program, local solicitation from the Office of Justice Programs in the amount of $14,543 with no match required, amend the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 11, authorization to accept the fiscal year 20 OJJDP Delinquency Prevention Grant for Strengthening Families Program in the amount of $35,000 with no match required. Amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 12, authorization to apply for Public Safety and Community Violence Reduction Grant in the amount up to $1,500,000 with no match required, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 13, authorization for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew a lighting services agreement with Georgia Power, changing from halogen to LED lights with no increase to service cost, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 14, authorization for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to renew an agreement with Control Concepts for preventative maintenance of HVAC equipment in the Law Enforcement Building in the amount of $12,540 to be funded through the department's existing budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 15, approval of a system maintenance agreement with Motorola Solutions, Inc. to provide up-to-date system upgrades and maintenance coverage of the countywide radio network in the amount of $8,990,010 over 12-year increments, which covers the life cycle of the radio network and the total infrastructure of the radio system to be funded through the general fund, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 16, authorization to negotiate an on-demand contract with DRC Emergency Services as the emergency debris removal vendor, which will expedite the process of removing debris in the event of a disaster. Number 17, authorization for the chairman to execute a new employment contract with Brittany Finley as the Assistant State Court Public Defender, which was previously vacated, effective October 17, 2022, with no impact to the budget pending final legal review. Number 18, approval of a discounted public safety e-card agreement with Emergency Response Training and Support Services for the Fire EMS Department. Number 19, approval of a purchase agreement with Williams Fire Apparatus in the amount of $97,400 for apparatus and equipment to be funded through the 2016 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 20, authorization to enter into a settlement of litigation with Lolita Grant, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Number 21, authorization to enter into a settlement of litigation with Mark Jeffries, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Thank you so much, Sherry Mathis. Thank you so much, Deputy Clerk. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
Yeah, we're going to keep this moving. We're rolling here. So I just had one comment. This deals with, and this is really to my board. Here's, I think, Madam ACA, let's talk about HVAC. There's a couple of topics on this agenda. Heating, whatever the HVAC means, on top of roofs and stuff. A couple of years ago, the Board of Commissioners passed a 5-0 vote to replace all, what I would call electrical and plumbing in all of our buildings except for the jail. We were very clear with that. We were successful. We paid it off when it came in. It accomplished what it was supposed to do. A $2.5 million investment, a loan that we took, it paid off, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to say to be done. 2.0 on that was like, okay, guys, let's keep this thing going. Once we got the ARPA money that came along, that was what, $28 million. The Board of Commissioners agreed in the original vote of the adoption of the ARPA list to have $5.5 million for HVAC. We were clear. Now, through subsequent amendments to the list, of course, we moved it from the general fund to that to make room for our program management, et cetera, and other things that the board wanted to get done. I want to be very clear about, look, guys, we got to keep this going as it relates to maintenance. I'm expecting a very clean procurement process. The board had expectations like, why is it taking so long? Quit playing with it. Stop playing. Quit introducing things offline. Keep this clean. It should not be a year later that we're still talking about this HVACs. Where we going with this? Do not put the board in this place. I'm looking for Madam ACA, you and the new procurement officer. Make sure this thing is clean. Let's get to work. You got the sheriff over here by himself. Got you, sheriff. No problem. The point is, okay, now how did the sheriff get a half of the entire Board of Commissioners for HVAC replacement? Clean it up, ladies. Clean this up. That's all I got to say. You ain't even got to respond. Clean this up. I got to say this for the full board. Okay. Not where we at right now. Make this clean up. Madam Chair, I yield. I'm done.
Okay. Any other? He said go. Any other comments, board? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to approve the consent agenda. Board of Commissioners, we're going to move right on to the approval of our expenses. Board of Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review your expenses. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, Board. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes. Board of Commissioners, we have a four vote and one abstain. So the motion carries, Board of Commissioners. All right, we're going to move on to our announcements. Board of Commissioners, do we have any announcements tonight that you want to start? Commissioner Carthen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, citizens. I just wanted to invite all of my senior citizens out to join me on Friday, October 28th at 11 a.m. for my Senior Breast Care Tea Brunch. This is in observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Usually during the month of October, I usually do a mammogram bus. And unfortunately, my Deputy County Administrator didn't help me secure that this month, so I had to do something else. Yes, I'm calling you out. Usually, Director Perry helps me to secure my mammogram bus, but I couldn't get it this year, so I had to pivot and do something else. However, I thought it enough in honor of my mother, who passed away at 46 from breast cancer, And in honor of me, who just had a double mastectomy, that I would not leave out my seniors. So I just wanted to ensure everyone on October 28th, we will celebrate how to take care of your breasts. This is for men and women, senior citizens. So please come out and join me. Again, it's October the 28th, which is Friday at 11 a.m., and it will be held at the Douglas County Transportation and Connect Douglas Center. For more information, you can contact myself, 770-920-7266, or Tabria Cobb at douglascountygeorgia.gov. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Carthen. Any other announcements for Vice Chair Robinson? You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be quick again. There's two announcements I'm going to make, and these are just save the dates. I'm getting ahead into the new year. The first save the date is going to be on Thursday. This will be in January 27th. Just mark the date, save the date, what is the appropriate thing is. January 27th from 6 to 8, 2023. And it's going to be my first annual glaucoma awareness symposium. It's entitled Dining in the Dark. It's going to be a great experience, which I'm going to bring awareness to it. I've got some keynote speakers that are one is national and one is statewide. And we're going to bring awareness to what, we talk about behavioral health. We talk about things that people go through. Life. I'm going to give you some insight into my world and those who are like me and what it means to perform with your eyes closed. And how do you do what you do at a high performance. So that's going to be a great awareness event. Look, mark the date, again, January 20th, 2023. And then that same next Thursday, January 27th, 2023, will be my 7th annual, mark the date, the 7th annual Doing Business with Douglas. And we're excited about that, 7 straight years that we've been serious about opening up the economy, being consistent. We just talked about today about Title VI in my Transportation Committee. We talked about treatment of people and rights, right, and access and opportunity. And so we're excited about that. I look forward to this year. I'm going to just be a sponsor because, again, I'm stepping back. I look forward to stepping back. So I'm looking forward to our new procurement director, LaTanya Amos, and director of communications, David Good, to sort of serve as co-host for that and begin to really take that forward, that the administration needs to own it, less about an elected officials. But I look forward to both those dates, January 20th and January 27th, 2023. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, Vice Chairman Robinson. Any other remarks, Board? If not, we'll bring our Communications Director, Rick Martin, or to provide us with the remainder of our announcements.
Thank you again, Madam Chair, for the invitation. Just want to follow up on additional announcements that we have for the community. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office and the Douglasville Police Department will be hosting a trunk or treat event here at the Douglas County Courthouse on October 29th. That's Saturday, October 29th, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The probate court will be open on Saturday, December 3rd. Please check the probate court website for more information. Again, the probate court will be open on Saturday, December 3rd. Please check the probate court website for more information. The Douglas County Fire Department and the Georgia Department of Public Health have partnered to offer COVID-19 PCR testing at the kiosk located just outside Douglas County Fire Headquarters at 12501 Veterans Memorial Highway in Douglasville. The Douglas County Courthouse employees will be handing out candy to the community inside the courthouse on Friday, October 28th. Trick-or-treating will start at 1:30 and end at 4:30 on October 28th. Again, the Douglas County Courthouse employees will be handing out candy to the community inside the courthouse on Friday, October 28th. Trick-or-treating will start at 1:30 p.m. and end at 4:30 on October 28th, one of our annual events. The Douglas County Fire Department is distributing and installing free smoke detectors for citizens who need one as part of a National Fire Prevention Week. To request a free smoke alarm installation, call the main line at the Douglas County Fire Department at 770-942-8626. That completes this evening's list of announcements. I yield back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Communications Director Rick Martin. I will certainly close by just certainly reaffirming that Douglas County is in low status right now with COVID-19, but I just wanted to bring some news to you that we are still in pandemic mode. As the winter inches in, Dr. Fauci has sounded the alarm about a pair of pretty troublesome COVID-19 variants. The two descendants of the Omicron BA.5 subvariant, and it is called BQ1 and BQ11, and both have dangerous qualities and certainly can evade the intervention. So I want us to still take precautions, be cognizant and wear your mask, and certainly social distancing, and also just make sure that you wash your hands repeatedly throughout the day. So please be mindful of your 3 W's. We are still in pandemic mode, and I hate to always bring this news, but I guess I was elected at a time such as this regarding this medical crisis that we have, public health crisis that we have before us right now in our nation. Board of Commissioners, if there's nothing else to come before this body, certainly this has been a very good, productive meeting, and this meeting is adjourned. So thank you so much, Board of Commissioners.